welcome everybody to Cinema Royale. I am Travis Hobson of PunchDrunkCritics.com, and on this week's show, we are talking Uncharted. This is a movie that literally, I believe it's one of the first things that we ever covered on our site, like more than a decade ago. That's how long this movie has been in the works. I mean, it's been around so long. Mark Wahlberg was originally supposed to be the star, and now he's like the side guy. That's how long this movie's been in the works. Long time. And we're also going to talk Dog, which is Channing Tatum, and it's his directorial debut, co-directing debut. So we'll get to talk about that. So no, it wasn't Gambit. Sadly, he didn't get to make that one, but he did get to do Dog, and we'll talk about that. And joining me to talk about it is Joey Magidson from Awards Radar. What's up, dude?
Hey, yeah, I remember when it was going to be a David O. Russell directed Uncharted.
David O. Russell. That script of his hung around for like 8 or 9 years too.
Yeah, he wrote the script, was like, sure, I'll direct it, but you're going to pay me to make this movie first, right?
Yeah.
And then eventually they got the hint of like, oh, you're never going to actually direct this, right?
Yeah.
Slowly but surely it turned into the thing we have now.
Thing that we have now. So we'll talk about Dog shortly, but I really want to start. Well, no, not Dog. We're going to talk about Uncharted. Yeah, we are going to talk about Uncharted first. So let's talk about Uncharted.
Why not?
Based on the Naughty Dog video game, which to my friends who never played it, I kind of just likened the Tomb Raider with a dude. I mean, that's basically what it is.
Yeah, it's Indiana Jones. It's all that.
Yeah.
A little bit of guns, a little bit of exploring.
Yeah.
They get better as they go along.
Right. You got Tom Holland, who plays Nathan Drake, a descendant of Sir Francis Drake. Mark Wahlberg plays Sully. And they're off in search of Ferdinand Magellan's lost gold. Sully's sort of a shady character, and Drake is someone who does not fully understand, I think, how good he is at this treasure hunting game. And of course, there's a lot of double crosses in this. You got Antonio Banderas as a rich guy who wants to find the gold first. Tati Gabrielle as another heavy going up against them. I really liked her in this. So for a movie that we waited for a very long time, Joey, this is a really average movie. I really wanted to like this a lot, and I'll be honest. It starts off with a really great set piece, which is Drake kind of attached to these floating cargo in the air. He's stuck to it, and it kind of ends on that same sequence, and then kind of expands from there. Where you got like pirate ships and all sorts of stuff and helicopters. A couple of really nice action sequences done by director Ruben Fleischer. Talk about somebody you just kind of settled for in director, considering all the names that have been attached to this in the past, but we'll talk about that later. But everything in the middle I thought was like really bland National Treasure meets Da Vinci Code stuff, and I really was hoping to get a little bit more puzzle fun out of this than we got. So what did you think of Uncharted?
I'm pretty much there with you. The stuff that the opening sequence is solid and is kind of Uncharted-ish, and then the pirate ship at the end is very Uncharted.
Yeah.
The rest is like I like the banter. Like I got a kick out of that.
Very Wahlberg-esque banter, though.
Yeah,
it's funny how this kind of still became a Wahlberg movie, because it felt like Two Guns in every Mark Wahlberg movie where he's had a sidekick or partner.
Yeah, it felt like, okay, I know I'm kind of the sidekick, so I'll let you make 20% more fun of me than normal.
Right.
But other than that, like, I want to sit out half the action scenes. I want to be off screen a solid 20 minutes. Like, it does scream like you negotiated the hell out of this deal, and kudos to that. But yeah, the middle is very, like, they clearly didn't have an idea. They had the opening idea, I think they had. And I think the idea of ending with the pirate ship and sort of setting them up for a next adventure was the pitch that got them all sort of greenlit. The rest was, we'll figure it out. And it's very dumb and needlessly complicated while also being completely arbitrary and fades from your mind literally as you're watching it.
Really?
Like, it's the epitome of this movie exists and is aggressively fine.
Right. It's pretty much it. And I've seen it twice. I went to see it with a friend who hadn't seen it. I'm willing to go see any movie a couple times if a friend.
I saw Dog twice, so there we are.
Which one?
A Dog twice, so I'm prepped.
Oh God. Okay. Well, no, I think in both cases these things have some similarities. But But yeah, seeing it a second time, I was watching it and I was like, yeah, you know what? I kind of forgot that this whole middle section the first time I watched it
Well,
already.
it's like
And
you're
I
trying to
just
figure out
saw
what
it
they're
like a few days before, and I was like, I don't remember any of the stuff that happened in the middle here.
you're trying to figure out what they're going for the second time, I would imagine, because you're like, okay, for the big like Uncharted fans, who this is like real big shit, they know who Chloe is, so it's not really interesting what you're doing with her because they're like, okay, sure. And if you don't know who the hell she is, it's one too many characters. Like you don't really need her to pop in and out, except for oh, I have another key. She doesn't really provide anything besides being a cool character.
He's
Just not
for double crossing purposes.
yeah, just like honestly, I don't know that you needed two villains. They just, I think there's one reason there's two villains, and it's just to have one surprise scene.
Right.
Other than that,
That's
it's
basically it.
yeah.
That's basically it. And Banderas is basically playing like the same guy he played in Hitman's Wife's Bodyguard. Like it's just the same guy, basically.
He's basically playing. He's playing what Bruce Willis would play if this was an actively bad movie.
If Bruce Willis
Really
was
could have
in the movie,
like this.
he would never get out of his chair.
Oh yeah, he would be sitting. It would have taken place in Bulgaria, and he would have given you a weekend.
He'd be in a wheelchair or something, or he'd have all of his meetings at a diner.
Or everything would be from behind, so it's not actually him.
Bruce Willis tropes.
He's got a brand now.
He does. But the movie's not all bad, though. I mean, like you said,
No.
it is aggressively fine, like you said. But it's interesting because I wonder if this appeals to hardcore Uncharted fans, because Tom Holland, as much as I like him, I don't know anybody who doesn't really like him.
No, he's cool.
He doesn't scream Nathan Drake, like even
No.
I mean, he's playing Peter Parker, right? I mean, he's basically just playing Peter Parker.
Sort of. And like he's not even playing young Nathan Drake, because if you play the game, there are young Nathan segments, and they're kind of like this movie's flashback of like formative things, or like, oh, sometimes it's dumb. It's like, oh, this is the first time you jumped and got caught. Like, oh, the thing you do 93 times after that.
Yep.
I mean, this is clearly just easiest way to make a franchise is to have someone grow into it. So we couldn't figure out a way to make Uncharted with Marky Mark, and then Chris Pratt probably was too expensive, and they just went down the list. I was like, what if we just get Tom Holland in 10 years, but have him now? And the price was right.
Yeah. And I forget, how did this do at the box office last week?
It did well. It made 50, I think, or something like that. It did, like, I mean, normal times, I think they'd be like, this is fine. Yeah. Right now, I think they'd still be like, yeah, no, this is great. Because also it's the tail end of Spider-Man. Spider-Man's still, I think, top 5 at the box office. So, people want their Tom Holland fix, and people do like Mark Wahlberg. And also, like, I think people are getting hyped up for Batman.
Yeah.
So it's like, oh, I want a big popcorny movie in the dregs of February.
Well, it says a lot for Holland because, he could have done another, what was that one he did with Daisy Ridley?
Cherry?
No, Chaos.
Chaos Walking. No, that's terrible.
Yeah, another one of those that just kind of died. He could have done another one of those. But
his successes are huge.
Right.
But then some of his other stuff is like, I can see what you're doing, but I kind of wish you waited for like the next offer. Like Cherry, I understand why he did it. And like, I like that movie, but I know it's not great to most people, but
it's not
what was the other one?
Great, but it's a good role for him.
Yeah. Like he should be playing that role, but like The Devil All the Time, I get it, like kind of a prestige Netflix movie, but like maybe the next one would have been a better offer. And Chaos Walking, I maybe wait for the next paycheck movie.
I literally had someone asking me the other day, does he play anything else other than Peter Parker? And I was like, can you tell me another movie where he does? I was like, first thing I said was Cherry. Like, he doesn't play the same character in Cherry. He's like, was it any good? I was like, not really, but
I mean, no, if you like Peter Parker, I don't know that that's the movie you're going to watch him in,
but he's pretty good in it,
Yeah,
and he's pretty good in The Devil All the Time too. For another movie that's a little bit messy, I didn't like all that much. I really wanted to, but
I think he finds good characters. I think he doesn't necessarily find like the best movies to be in.
Yeah. But this bodes well for him that people want to see him. I think this is like one of those times where like everybody wants to see him and they want to see Zendaya. Like they want to see them both. Like if she put out a movie right now, it'd probably be a hit.
Yeah, she has a mini movie every Sunday, so she's doing great with that. But no, I think this bodes well for the sequel, honestly, because I think they'll put a little more effort into it, and like
you'll see a reason to invest.
Yeah, I don't think Ruben Fleischer will direct the sequel.
No.
There'll be a higher budget, and I think they'll get a little wilder with what they're up to. Because like now okay, we're here for him to do his thing. Like yeah, this is like it's not gonna be like the Venom kind of situation where they're like, let's just lean into the one thing people liked about the last movie, but they could pitch like a real visual director on Uncharted 2 Electric Boogaloo, whatever they call it.
This would be a good time to go back and get Travis Knight again. Like I would love for them to like go back and bring him back in. Like please come.
He would be good. Or if you want to go real like kinetic, you could try to get Gareth Evans, the guy from The Raid, who like
look. I want Gareth Evans to direct everything.
He's so like I don't want to do these movies though.
he still broke my heart with The Raid 3, and I'll say it till I die. Until I get
the one that's like taking place in. Is there another one taking place in Philadelphia or something coming out?
Was that something? And I don't. Like I said, I just need that movie, and I'll never get it.
Yeah.
So Uncharted is fine. I think people. Yeah. The person I saw it with liked it enough. I think she probably would tell you that she's not gonna. If I asked her about it right now, she probably wouldn't remember much about it either.
My girlfriend was like, the Price is Right because she came to my press screening.
Yeah, there you go.
The 2 hours of my life that vanished were, I guess, well spent. Sure.
Yeah, you're fine. All right, so let's talk about the other movie the movie that you saw twice.
Yeah.
Which I need an explanation for why you saw it twice, and that's Dog, starring Channing Tatum as a soldier, PTSD, brain injuries, who is recruited to escort a combat dog to the funeral of his former master, I guess, his soldier, his partner. And this one was really odd. And and I'm going to say that overall I enjoyed Dog. But this thing takes some really strange diversions. Like, okay, so I get it that it's going to be, part man and canine comedy. Like, you expect like the car to get destroyed or chewed up. You expect all sorts, the dog running off and stuff like that. But the thing is, when it leans into like the stuff that you expect, like the formula road trip stuff, man and dog, something weird always happens in it that they were like intentionally trying to subvert it. So like the dog runs away at one point. So what happens? Well, they run into a weed smoking couple, and Channing Tatum's character nearly kills them with an axe. Or they break into a hotel, or they trick their way into a hotel by pretending to be blind, and the dog escapes and attacks a man who's Middle Eastern, like, because that's what he's trying to do. Like, weird stuff happens in this movie when it's doing the broad comedy, and it always kind of just left me with my head scratching, even though ultimately when it gets to the moments where it's meant to be big and emotional, it's a dog movie and it's about fallen soldiers, so it's pulling at the heartstrings. It does all the time. But when it gets to those points, they still land. But man, it takes some weird turns getting there.
I think so I spoke to the co-director, Reed Carolyn, who is Channing Tatum's producing partner.
Yeah.
And they were talking about making like an R-rated movie at some point, and like, but no, and like this is sort of what they landed on is, we can do it, the number will be right. So like I think they have a lot of weird ideas in their head. So I think at a certain point, okay, we need to talk.
Didn't Carolyn write this as well?
Reed Carolyn co-wrote this with someone else, and he wrote both Magic Mikes, I believe.
Yeah, Karen wrote both Magic Mikes. I can't remember if they did 10 years together as well, all those years.
I think he might have produced it. They met on Stop Loss. That's how far back they go. But like, yeah.
They were producers on a documentary about combat dogs, if I remember right.
I think so. Yeah. They clearly, this is stuff they care about.
Yep.
But they have a weird sense of humor. Like I maintain Magic Mike XXL is one of the like strangest movies in a good way, because I
love Magic Mike XXL.
It's the most sex positive like Hollywood movie I've seen in a long time. Like Big Dick Richie, who's like, oh, glass slipper, and everyone's happy for him. Like it's
also why I knew instantly that was Kevin Nash. Like before they showed him, I was like, that's going to be Kevin Nash.
I love that Kevin Nash is like now Channing Tatum's friend.
Yeah, and you got the NWO shirt, and you're talking about
he's pretty good in this. He's great in Magic Mike. I still love an XXL.
Nash is an underrated actor for a wrestler, and I always tell Joe Blow, I work with them as well. that I want to do a video series where I just talk about wrestlers who became
Yeah,
action
because
stars. I
they
really,
all have to have charisma to be any good. So that's part of it. Like there's something about like, oh, someone go check if Tarzan died in his sleep last night. Like just that guy of like laying there, like he knows how to lay. But yeah, the movie, his part is maybe one of the weirdest parts of the movie of just like he's a paranoid weed farmer who's worried the government's after him and they have to go make friends. Like
and his wife is
it's
Jane
weird.
Adams. You know Jane Adams as an actress. She's a really great actress, but she tends
Yeah.
to play like kind of quirky, kooky characters sometimes.
Oh no, she's playing herself, it seems like.
Yeah.
But that segment worked. I like that. Like once you realize where it is, you're like, okay, cool. This is a fun way of breaking up the trip and giving them a little bit of a momentum for what's to come next. I think the would-be threesome scene is fine. It's weird.
That is also very strange.
It's just that clearly was a scene they had written down somewhere and never worked out.
Also very strange to run into these two almost cartoonishly feminist characters.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's very, very, very broad targets at like Portland, but like probably more accurate than not. But yeah, once the attacking the Middle Eastern guy, it feels weird for a little bit until you realize they're navigating it well. But yeah, it's one of those ones where like, okay, this is weird, but less fun now.
Yeah.
And it just, I think watching it the second time, it worked a lot better. And the reason I saw it the second time was my girlfriend wanted to see it, and there was no guests at the press screening.
That's all you need to say. I get it.
We wanted the dog to come also, but that was apparently problematic. But no, it's when you know all that's coming, you kind of reevaluate as, okay, this is the beat that I know would be in this movie, but instead of like, oh, the car breaks down, which it does later instead, it's okay, there's a would-be threesome that gets broken up. It's just they kind of have a shit-eating grin about everything, and I like that. And also for someone I hate, like I actively did not like Channing Tatum early on, which I think if you got him in a room to interview him very honestly, he would agree with the things I didn't like, because I never didn't like him. But like The Vow, they were terrible movies.
I used to always call Channing Tatum the John Cena of Hollywood, because he was like, because John Cena, like, and as a wrestler, I hated him as a wrestler. I thought he was terrible, but I could always tell he was trying hard and trying to be better. And and they're both kind of like goofy, kind of bro-ish kind of guys in the beginning, you know. And Channing Tatum played a lot of those roles in the beginning, and he was. I would agree with you that all those roles sucked and all those characters sucked, but he was trying to do better, and he got better, and he's gotten better.
You could tell he didn't have the agency of his decisions. That's like The Vow and G.I. Joe, just like shit that people who look like you would be in, but you're not that guy. So once I think 21 Jump Street and like This Is the End, where I was like, oh wait, he's funny.
Yeah.
Like just when he's the gimp and This Is the End, he's like, I love him.
He's really good in this, in selling his characters. Like, you know, he's desperate. He's trying to hold on to the one thing he knows, which is the military, and also trying to navigate being back in civilian society, which he obviously is not acclimated to at all.
Acting against himself, I would say half the time.
Yeah,
because the dog is not.
Yeah. Really goodness. The thing about Dog is it's not a bad movie. I think it's a good movie. No. It's just that, like I was saying, and you were talking about too, it's like it does these things that are really weird, but it does them in a way that's effective. Like they're like they ultimately work. Even though you're kind of like, where the hell is this scene going right now? Like,
it has a lot of personality that you don't expect from this movie, is the thing.
It is not a stereotypical movie the way you would expect it would be.
It's why I think the trailers were so explicit towards the end of like, the dog doesn't die. Don't worry, guys. Come see the movie.
I know a lot of people who actually told me that they weren't going to go see it because they're afraid the dog's going to die. Yeah, and I mean, that's a legitimate concern. I think dog movies would be smart to put that out there often, if not.
It does make this one a little weirder because there is a strong subplot of whether the dog will be put down or not. So you're like, oh, I know the answer. But
I think it should make it clear that like the dog won't be killed in the movie.
Yeah, this is not going to be Lean on Pete, which God, I wish I knew that was what happened in Lean on Pete. That was a bummer. Jesus.
You know who I liked this? Where we go? I really liked Ethan Suplee in this also.
This is what he's best at. Like, give me two scenes with like a memorable character. He's great.
Yeah, he's really good in this. Every time I see him, I'm always amazed at his kind of physical transformation. But
he's not muscular, but he's
gotten into dad bod territory now.
He looks like he should look, like, as opposed to like he was always a big dude, and like that's why they were okay. You're the fat guy, and
Right. He was always
not
cast
really.
that guy.
Yeah, and now he's just like, yeah, now I'm just like the guy who maybe either I used to be fat or maybe I used to be in shape, but I'm regressing towards the middle, however you want to frame that.
It's kind of like what 50 Cent is now. 50
Yeah,
Cent.
which is another. You look at him, you're like, sir,
Yeah, like, like
exercising. All right.
He used to be a chisel from granite, and now he's kind of got the same size.
Yeah, he's like, guys, no one's been shooting at me for 30 years. I eat cheeseburgers now. It's fine.
Right, exactly.
I slow down and I sit down.
So ultimately, I think two movies that we could both recommend, even
totally for different reasons and for different audiences.
Yeah, and I think Dog is ultimately like the more memorable of the two, even though
totally.
Yeah, I'm surprised by how much I enjoyed it, even though it, like I said, it is very strange at times.
Uncharted could use more of the dog weirdness.
You know what? It actually could. Maybe they'll put that in the sequel. I'm hoping that.
There we go. I know we should write and direct the sequel now. I figured it out.
Channing Tatum and
him and Reed Carroll, and there we go.
You know what? That's the kind of movie they would probably upgrade to.
Yeah, like I don't know if that's their budget level yet, but in terms of like, do the same thing. Like have your main story be, oh, we got to find Francis Scott Key's key, because it's always something like that.
They might totally Colin Trevorrow it, man. They might just like go from Safety Not Guaranteed to Jurassic World.
I mean, listen, that guy.
Things have happened, man.
It worked. I mean, I think that he worked out all right, but yeah, there's something about the like. I know you made a $5 million movie. How would you feel about a $500 million movie? I'll have help, right? I'll have help.
Crazy. All right, so while I got you on here, man, let's talk about the Oscars real quick. The Oscars have introduced a new kind of a mainstream award, for popular vote for popular films. I guess they want to get some of that Spider-Man No Way Home love or whatever. Yeah. Or I don't know, but I can't remember what the hell did they call this thing again. We just talked about it already.
It was. I kept it up because there's no way it's memorable. It's the Oscars fan favorite with the
Oscars fan favorite award. We're letting people vote and choose like I guess more mainstream films.
Yeah, I mean,
as someone who covers awards, as part of your site and it's kind of your specialty. What are you thinking about this?
Oh, it's stupid. Don't worry, it's dumb. Because it's like. When they wanted to do the popular movie award, like I think that's also dumb, but that was a weird like we're gonna fuck ourselves over. This one is way more okay. You guys didn't want that. What if we just did it as like you guys did a fan vote and we'll just recognize a fan vote because somehow that's better, I guess. I mean, like the original award was the Academy voting on popular movie, like which is wouldn't the movie that wins Best Picture be the most popular among you guys? This is the Twitter thing. And like, I don't think they're getting an Oscar and stuff like that. So all the worst parts are removed. But they really screwed the pooch in saying like it's a Twitter fan vote. It should have been like, oh, you guys get a third of the vote and the Academy will vote and then there'll be a committee or something. Because like you said, they wanted to give this to Spider-Man and like would have accepted a different Marvel movie or like something, big and fun. And
put Spider-Man in the Best Picture race.
They could have. I mean, I don't have as big an issue either way. Like I would have, if it was a binary like Spider-Man or Drive My Car, like, yeah, I prefer Spider-Man, but Drive My Car is probably better for the world overall to be in there. Like Spider-Man's not hurting. But yeah, this seemed like an easy slam dunk. Just give it a sort of
do it for their own like credibility with the casual view.
Which is immediately gone because the Twitter Camila Cabello fans have spammed Cinderella into the lead. And I think the other thing was there was a Johnny Depp movie that even I haven't seen. I saw 300.
Was it Minamata?
Yeah, like I didn't see it, but like that one was leading early on.
Yeah,
of just like they want to spam the vote.
I mean, of course, the Johnny Depp fans are legion on Twitter.
I'm sure all
wonderful Minamata review. I mean, the retweets were through the goddamn roof.
There were certain people who like have a Twitter following, and like that's great. Like, Bella Thorne, people seem to love. It doesn't translate at the box office, but like,
I'll make sure I cover everything she does because I know the fans are out there.
I learned years ago, and like it worked out this year. Like Kristen Stewart, like her fans.
Oh yeah, the case
are lovely. They're not mean, so like I'm happy to make an effort. It's the people who like, the Gaga fans this year who were just monsters to you. Like like you don't understand how this works, so I don't understand how you're mean to me. That happened years ago with Timothy Chalamet, or Call Me by Your Name, where if you weren't predicting him to win, you were homophobic. And I was like, there's so many problems with that sentence. that I want to explain to you, but it's not a level playing field. It's not like if I'm complaining about what the Mets are doing this week, but I'm complaining to like Vince McMahon. He's like, this is not my field. Like, I empathize with your problem, but I have two grown men punching each other. That's my problem. Like, it's just not the same conversation. There's no way you can impact the results with what you're doing.
Yeah. So tell me, how long do you think this is going to last? Do you think this is going to be something they do for
if it's
they can't do
Cinderella,
it forever, right? Like, I mean, like this,
no,
not gonna do it every year, right?
they're gonna figure something out. I mean, honestly, the answer is gonna be as the Academy gets younger and a little cooler, like it's gonna solve itself. Like, the Marvel has been up for Best Picture, DC has been up for Best Picture. Like, Dune is still a big, like, nerdy kind of property. Like, it's not like they get ignored.
Right.
It's just I understand why enough voters, and I know voters who voted for Spider-Man. Like, it wasn't like it was 90th. It was in the top 20, I would say.
Yep.
But, like, being successful isn't necessarily the arbiter of what's best. I mean, listen, if Uncharted made $100 million this weekend, I don't think it should be up for Best Picture.
Right.
But they want to find a way to get people who don't care to watch. And I don't know that that's ever going to happen. Like, I think they should really just lean harder into the people who care, really care, and they always care. Like, cater to them and make it a longer, more movie-centric show for the art stuff, and like get people to watch the movies they haven't seen. Because I think Drive My Car had a nice weekend this weekend.
Yeah.
And like the last couple weekends, that's only because of Best Picture.
Yeah.
Nobody knew
why that's the reason why they have like 10 nominees for Best Pictures, because you get 5 extra movies in there that people might not have heard of.
Well, the idea is with 10, you have to nominate 10. The old way, you were picking 5 and they figured out whether it was 6, 7, 8, 9. Here, if you didn't like 10 movies, you still got to find another one. So it's forcing the voter to stretch and go like, oh, okay, I'll vote for Toy Story or Up. Like, that was what the first time we saw it. Even though more so than not, it was like, okay, we got extra slots. A Serious Man, Winter's Bone. Like, they just go for another prestige film. Drive My Car. So I would like Nightmare Alley didn't do well, but that's a mainstream movie for all intents and purposes. Like, that's the instinct is right. It's just you can't control what people like.
Right.
So it's hard to know that every year you're going to have a $1 billion movie in the lineup. They're not. We love these $1 billion movies, but like, not every Marvel movie should be up for Best Picture, and I think they're almost all great, but there is a difference.
Right. All right, we're gonna have to have you back on.
That's why we have the Super Awards.
That's exactly what I was about to bring up. We need to have you back on soon so we can break down the Super Awards. Those nominations came out today. Joey and I worked side by side on those. Sort of. I didn't do a whole lot, if I'm honest.
No, we actually we got the jobs. What we do is we watch other people do the work.
Watch other people do the work, and I helped out with the tiebreaker once, I think. And
periodically with the eye in the spot.
I threw out suggestions. This is what I tried to make sure I did.
I threw out suggestions, but I was less pushy than usual because I was like, I wonder if I'm pushy, it's going to seem like, yeah, we want this, so make this happen. Right. And ultimately, I don't care that much. Like, I care beyond the like. Here's a couple that spoke to me, but if we're getting into like, for best villain, is it Ratma or not? Like, I'm good with whatever we do there. Like, have at it, guys.
I'm into it as far as I want it to be a success, and I want people to.
Yeah, I like that we're slowly moving in the right direction. Like, it's not going to be. There's work to be done, and we want to succeed more than almost anyone. But like, no award show is like up to par year 1, year 2, year 3. Like, it's a long-term goal, but I think
this is year 2 and we're still working on it. And then I think we had a really great group of nominees that came out today, so you can check those out at punchdrunkcritics.com. You can check them out. I'm sure you got them over there at Awards Radar.
Yeah,
they're all over Twitter as well. People tweeting about it, which I like. # Super Awards. So yeah, some good stuff. Got some good reactions too.
Totally.
Yeah, I'm really happy about that. We'll talk about those some more though, because those are fun awards. But Joey, this has been fantastic. We got to talk about Uncharted and Dog. Tell everybody where they can find you on the socials and anything you got coming up, man.
Yeah, you can find me at Joey Magidson, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Letterboxd, OnlyFans, wherever. One of those might be a lie. Awards Radar is on several of those, and yeah, like
you're not on Letterboxd.
no, OnlyFans where the money is. No, and then just the award season. I'll be out in LA for Critics' Choice, but all the stuff. I mean, my Cyrano stuff that I recorded like 6 months ago with the cast and crew is going up this week, so like that's fun. I look younger because I am. Like it's a weird time. It's like it's the end of award season, so there's not a ton to do.
Yep.
But there's also pre-blockbusters. So like,
Yep.
I don't know how many times I could write about Batman in the next 2 weeks, but I'm gonna figure out a way.
I know, Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
All right, man. Well, this has been fantastic. Thanks everybody for tuning in to Cinema Royale. You can find me, Travis Hobson, every day at punchdrunkcritics.com, on Twitter at Punchy Critic. You can find Punch Drunk Critics at PDC Movies. And of course, you can also find me at joeblow.com and in loads of other places as well. All right. Thanks again, everybody. Thanks, Joey. We will see you next week. Bye. Thanks for checking out the show. If you like what we're laying down, please subscribe to our channel and click the bell to receive notifications for all of our latest stuff.